Legum, you've probably never heard of me because I'm not a career politician. I've never run for public office. I've never actually even spoken except to local people about political issues. But with the failure of the administration, with the failure in Washington, I think it's time to clean house. We've got to start from the top down. Now, you've heard a lot this evening about local financial problems, but what we really have to touch upon also, I believe, is the federal deficit. Now, even as recently as Sunday, I heard Senator Lieberman on one of the talk shows, and he said, well, we really have to clean up this deficit. The reason we have to is for our children and our grandchildren. They don't understand. This is a here and now problem. Let me give you an illustration of what this problem is. I don't know if you've read about this, but you know, there's a housing boom in China. So what does this have to do with anything here? Well, there's also, with a housing boom, there are massive communities in China that are empty. They're built homes and buildings and homes and buildings, and they can't sell them. What happens in a housing boom? There's a bust. What happens now if this housing bubble in China bursts? Say, what does it have to do with us? You know what it has to do with us? China holds 22% of the American debt. 22%. Now, if the Chinese government needs money, what is the Chinese government going to do? It's going to take the American paper and put it out on the market. What happens to the treasury bills, treasury bonds, and treasury notes? They tank as the market gets flooded. What happens then when the government has to keep borrowing? The interest rates skyrocket. So this is not something for your grandchildren. This is a here and now problem. Because if China tanks, if the housing market in China tanks, we suffer the consequence. We have actually lost control of our own destiny, our own economy, to the Chinese now. This is how perilous this situation is. This is frightening, and this is here and now. As a matter of fact, putting that aside, the Congressional Budget Office tells us that within 10 years, on the same numbers we have today, the interest that the government's going to be paying is going to quadruple. The only reason it's as low as it is, as high as it is simply because interest rates are so low. If interest rates ever rise up to a higher level, a more normal level, the government is going to pay 4 times as much to borrow. Where is that money coming from? Where? And you know, money doesn't come from Washington. We heard some talk about how much we get back. We don't get anything back. We give it to them. They don't generate money. Money comes from us. And if we give them $1, don't do me a favor and give me 30 cents back. I'm better off keeping my dollar in my pocket. You're not helping us. The problem we have here is the same thing we heard from that insipid, sanctimonious comic that we saw. What did he say about the Founding Fathers? It was the smartest people. That's the same thing we hear from these people in Washington today. The elite. Nancy Pelosi. David Axelrod. David Axelrod got on Meet the Press, and you know what he said? You don't have to know what's in that bill, because we know what's in the bill, and that bill is good for you. Well, time doesn't allow, but that bill isn't good for you, and that bill is a game they're playing, and that's why they use a simple term, the term single payer. Why don't you be honest about it? That means government medicine. That's not single payer. Tell the truth. Tell the truth. You're not telling the truth. You're playing the game because you believe the people are stupid. You know better. The elite in Washington knows better. That comic knows better about the smart people. They're not being honest with you. And you know what? As bad as the failure is, the domestic policy, I'm sorry, but the failure of the foreign policy is even worse. This man in Washington has destroyed the image of the United States of America in the world. This man started out by taking a tour of the world called the Apology Tour. What the hell do we have to apologize for? Sending people to Kuwait, to liberate Kuwait, when we own the Kuwaiti oil fields? What did we do in Kuwait? We spent money and we gave them back their oil fields. How many Americans have died in Iraq? How many? How much have we spent? Are we keeping the oil fields there? Whether it was right or wrong, why did we do it? Do you know that in Haiti, you know what government spent the most money in Haiti? The United States of America. Do you know what government doesn't put their flag up? The United States of America. Every other country that is in Haiti helping out has their flag raised. The president won't let us have our flag raised. He is embarrassed about it because we're going to look like an occupying force. We're occupying. Excuse me?
He's a Marxist. He hates this country.
You know what? I don't think, honestly, I don't think he's a Marxist. In the classic socialist, you know what he's looking to do? He's looking to turn this country into the social welfare states that they have in Europe. That's really what it is. He's not a strict Marxist. That's what the game's about.
It worked for him, Mark.
Absolutely. The czars.
You are what you hang out with.
The czars, very good point. Don't put them through the Senate. Don't put them through the Senate where people can explore them in their views. Don't do that. Just put them in there. There's no question about it. Because you see, he went to Harvard Law School. He's smarter than you. That's why you don't have to know what's in the bill. You don't have to know because he knows, and he knows what's good for you. And Nancy Pelosi knows what's good for you. And David Axelrod knows what's good for you. And you know what? Everybody that knows, you know that the recent election, Blumenthal in Connecticut was having a debate with McMahon. She said to him, "What creates jobs?" He goes, well, the government. No, it's that, yeah. He won. He won. I know he won. I know he won. People have to be told, though, the government doesn't create jobs. If you put somebody in a government payroll, you pay him $1, it costs us $1.30, $1.40, $1.50. You want to create jobs, you create jobs in the private sector. That's where you make money. That's where the economy grows. You're not going to grow the economy and get us out of this problem by more government spending and this deficit, making us subject to what's going on in China. And just one thing I would just like to think about China. And the other thing about China is, you know, as a result of this, we've lost the moral authority. We can't press them on human rights. We can't press them. Do you know the Chinese government has advised us that they're not going to honor the embargo of military goods to Iran? We can't stop it because we don't have the power over China when they own 22% of the American debt. Yes, sir.
Before we're talking about how the media is trying to sway our opinions. Now, tonight I heard 2 or 3 people say, in the future we will be bankrupt. Now, the media is making you believe in the future we will be bankrupt. We are bankrupt now.
Yes.
You've got to stop listening to the media because they're lying to you. We are bankrupt now. I'll give you one stat. New York City alone, its debt service per year is over $5 billion in New York City. They are bankrupt. New York State is bankrupt. Not in the future, now.
Do you know?
One thing to that thing with 60 Minutes? Meg Whitman, she's amazing, and she's saying 1,000 municipalities are going to go belly up on their bonds. But that $1 trillion of unfunded pension liability that was recorded there, it is now $3 trillion. I don't know when that 60 Minutes was, but on Fox News this weekend, $3 trillion unfunded pension liability. And to your China thing, China normally buys $100 billion a year of our debt. Last year, they only bought $23 billion. Do you know what they did with the other money? They bought commodities, and you watch your food price, it's going up. And another thing, the dollar is going to be devalued. And China's not happy about that, but the government don't care. It's just like Germany. You'll go with a wheelbarrow to go buy a loaf of bread, and they'll pay back their debt that way.
That's the only way out.
And the bond, the 10-year bond the other day went up to 5%. Watch the bond.
Steve, you got 5 minutes.
Let me just.
I'm sorry.
Let me just say one thing about that. Out of every dollar the American government spends, 40 cents, 40% of it is borrowed money. Borrowed money. I'd love to, but
No, we have to wrap up. We're literally out of time. I'm sorry. Yeah.
50%, if not more, of Americans are lazy. They can't have enough.
Well, over 50% of the people do not pay income tax. This is a problem with the entitlements, because why would you care about cutting the entitlements when you're not paying for them?
If you're already at 50, which I think is high.
We're done.
I really appreciate your courtesy. Thank you.